Hey everyone, good morning to you on this Friday. Shara Park from the KSL Stream Center joining you live. Every once in a while we get to do some fun things here. We do a lot of hard news, but you know what? On this platform we have the opportunity to showcase some of the other talents that we have here in our newsroom, in our building, I should say in this case. We're talking cool stuff in Utah today with Jon Smith, host of 103.5 The Arrow. And I've got Jon in here with us in the KSL Stream Center. Hi, Jon.
Hey, how's it going, Shara Park?
Good. This is new for Jon, right? We had to tell him which cameras to look at. Look at the camera, Jon.
I have to look at this camera?
There you go.
Oh, dude, it's so weird because like they tell you when you're doing TV stuff, they're like, never look into the camera. Always look over here.
Look at the person you're talking
to. And so looking into the camera is very unusual for me.
That's funny. I've got audio. This is such a new platform for us. We're still figuring out the audio issues. So you may see me putting my headphones on and off. I don't want to distract anybody with the audio coming out of them. It just allows us to hear what's playing out through our system right now. But Jon, cool stuff in Utah. This is something I have loved since the moment you brought it to KSL TV and kind of talked through the idea. I want you, because this has been going on for a little bit, I want you to explain to people what cool stuff in Utah is, what this segment is, and what your goals with it were. And then we have one special piece that we're going to play today, and then we're going to have you come back on multiple times. This is not going to end today. We want you back lots and lots of times.
I love that, and thank you so much. Like, Shara Park really has been one of the biggest fans of this show. Like, I swear this project would have been killed 10 times had it not been for your support.
You're sweet. So tell people cool stuff in Utah.
So cool stuff in Utah. It's kind of a two-sided coin, right? Because I am a fiend for history. I love history, and I am a proud Utahn. I love living here. And that's kind of a weird thing with us here in Utah, right? Is that you talk to people that are from here and they're like, oh yeah, I'm from Utah, but I wish I were from Texas, or I wish I were from California. Like, there's not a lot of pride that goes with Utah.
Well,
and I want to change that.
We have pride, that's for sure.
I love being a Utahn, and we have so much cool history here that we don't really learn about, that we don't really know about. We kind of hear the same 10 stories over and over again growing up, and then we kind of don't know what else happened in the state of Utah between like the late 1800s and the early 1900s. There's this big 100-year gap where we don't really know what happened other than, yeah, we built this temple, yeah, the pioneers did this, yeah, Jim Bridger did this, but there's a lot of really cool stuff. And so in addition to that, I kind of like to wander around the streets of Salt Lake and Ogden and Provo and Tooele and just kind of find unique looking buildings or unique museums and just kind of go, hey, what's that about? And we take a camera in and away we go.
And you put the most unique Jon Smith twist on Utah history that anyone could possibly do. You make history so entertaining. And I mean, I walk away from watching these stories that you put together and I'm like, A, I didn't know those facts, but B, I was entertained the whole time I was watching it.
That's true. That's honestly, that's the best compliment a guy like me could get. And I hear that, and it means the world to me when people come up to me and they're like, oh, I didn't know this about Tooele, or I didn't know this about Grantsville. And I like, they're showing this in some schools now. They're showing this in elementary schools. And that's so flattering to me because this is just my little side project. Literally,
project that got Emmy nominated, by the way.
We didn't win anything.
In television.
But like, honestly, and this is kind of the behind the scenes stuff. Like, I don't get paid for doing these. You should. I agree. Maybe one day. But this is just a hobby and a side project that the people at KSL and the people at the Arrow have been kind enough to support and back me on. And just kind of go, yeah, Jon wants to go on the roof of the Cathedral of the Madeleine again. Okay, let's send him a cameraman. So we're about to start our 5th year of doing these, and they've grown and they've adapted a little bit. We've shortened some, we've lengthened some other parts.
You've gotten in trouble at some time.
I have gotten in lots of trouble. We have
Jon, don't go there. Don't say that. You did.
We have 3 episodes that we've never been able to air. because of either rules that I've broken or rules that the people who have let us into their facilities have broken, and then they get in trouble. So we've had to scrap the episodes altogether. But
Jon is sly. He figures out how to get into places. He'll come in here and I'm like, how? How did you do that? And he's like, I knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody, and I got in.
there's one where we did an episode at the state capitol, and somehow I convinced them to let me go into the top of a crane. And we broke so many tell people rules that day. So I got in trouble both from the person operating the crane, and then I got in trouble here at the office.
I love it.
And it's just one of those things where
push the limits.
Yeah, you push the limits, you ask for forgiveness, and occasionally they're like, yeah, dude, you can't show that. Yeah. That's so against the rules. You pulled it back.
Well, Jon, okay, so how many episodes have you done? By the way, if you're watching on our Facebook page or the Arrows Facebook page and you want to ask Jon a question, or you have a comment, or you've seen one of his episodes that you've really liked, leave him a comment. He's looking at those and he wants to know, what you've liked seeing and what maybe he should go check out next. So leave those comments for Jon, or if you have a question for him, I'll check those comments as we're going to play one of his videos here. But Jon, set us up. I said, Jon, of all the ones you've done, what do you want to show first to people on this platform and why?
And we have 72 episodes over the last 4 years. So picking the newer episodes is obviously easy, because the earlier episodes I watch and I cringe because I'm like, oh my gosh,
no, they were still good.
I can't believe we did that. But this episode in particular, it's one of our newer ones. We filmed this almost a year ago. And it's at a place called Camp Floyd, which is out. It's out in Utah County, out near Eagle Mountain, kind of near the Utah County Tooele County border. And Camp Floyd at one time was the home of 1/3 of the entire United States Army. And the reason for that is the rumored Utah War. There was supposed to be a Mormon uprising in the 1860s, late 1850s. And President James Buchanan, in what would later be known as Buchanan's blunder, sent every United States Army garrison he could get his hands on and sent it to Utah to quell an uprising and take Brigham Young out of the seat of governor. And any way you look at Utah history, there's a lot of questions. There's a little bit of controversy around this. And then you have, figures like Brigham Young and Porter Rockwell, who are controversial figures in history. I mean, that's just, you look at things and you go, okay, wow, I can't believe that. And one of these things that more recently has been exaggerated in the Netflix series American Primeval, which a lot of people are talking about, that features a heavily fictionalized version of the Mountain Meadows Massacre, things like wagon trains going to California from the Midwest. And then you have the Mormon War, the Utah War, where you have all of these bloody battles between the Mormon militias and the Utah residents and the U.S. Army. And the crazy thing about that is none of those ever actually happened. There was no blood spilled.
But you had this base on Camp Floyd,
right?
Preparing.
So I went down a rabbit hole there, didn't I?
I got you
So Camp Floyd was the location of the U.S. Army, and what happened is Brigham Young declared that, okay, we are going to fight the U.S. Army, but no blood is going to be spilled. You will take no life. However, we're going to fell trees. We're going to steal their cattle. We're going to set fire to the forest around them. And we're going to block their path in any way possible. And then ultimately, they signed a truce. They signed a deal where the Utah residents and the Mormon militia said, okay, fine. The U.S. Army can set up a camp in Utah territory under two conditions. One, you cannot be within 50 miles of any major Utah city. And that's where Camp Floyd comes into play, because you're exactly 50 miles from Provo, and then you're 50 miles from Salt Lake City.
So you somehow got somebody to say yes to you coming to Camp Floyd.
Right. It's actually open to the public. There's a museum there.
Not the way you do it?
No, the way I did it. Yeah. There's
okay.
You go out and you make some friends. So
I want to show people your story.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
gonna
yes,
watch
absolutely.
This.
Yeah.
You just got a glimpse there of why Jon is doing these. This guy loves history. He loves Utah. He loves to talk about the history here. He likes to find the little nuances and the elements there that maybe perhaps you didn't know about. And then he puts them into this creative display of journalism, I'm going to say, and entertainment.
Wow.
So this is Jon's Camp Floyd, cool stuff in Utah. We're going to go ahead and play it and come back. We'll ask a few more questions and take a look at your comments online.
This is Fairfield, Utah County, home of Camp Floyd State Park. But 150 years ago, 1/3 of the United States Army was camped out right here, ready to take on a so-called Mormon rebellion. Check it out. So to understand Camp Floyd, you really need to understand the Utah War, which wasn't really a war, but it was just kind of one of those weird things. In 1857, President James Buchanan got some exaggerated words that there was going to be a Mormon uprising. So President Buchanan sends 2,500 federal troops across the country on foot to replace Utah's Governor Brigham Young and stop the uprising. Only problem was, nobody told Brigham Young or anybody in Utah that they were coming. The Mormon militia has instructions to stop the U.S. Army. Wow. But they also have specific instructions that they're not to kill anybody. So the U.S. Army starts here, Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, and they have to walk all the way west. It's November of 1857. And I don't know if you know anything about Wyoming in the winter. Lots of snow, lots of cold. They get stuck right there. Their livestock starts dying off. Their troops start freezing. They're running out of supplies. They're running out of food, and they are running out of time. So they come to an agreement with Utah Governor Brigham Young. They had to be 50 miles away from the largest populated area. That's where Camp Floyd comes in. 50 miles from Salt Lake, 50 miles from Provo. So the army gets here, they set up camp, and what don't they find? They don't find a Mormon uprising. What they do find are harsh winters, dry summers, and a whole lot of nothing to do. But they are getting paid in gold and silver, which means there is now money being funneled into the Utah territory. Fantastic news for people that were already living here, because they started selling the army bricks at a penny apiece to build the camp, which they were supposed to use to fight the people that were already living here. How was morale among the soldiers at Camp Floyd? Not great. In fact, it was a 10% desertion rate. One guy called Camp Floyd the most miserable, disagreeable, and uninteresting places that disgraced the earth. There's not a lot of gray area there. Sounds pretty negative to me. This guy's like writing home. He's like, "Dear Camp Floyd, you suck. The end." This is Main Street in Fairfield. Not a lot going on here in the 21st century, but in 1858 through 1861, this was the third largest city in Utah. Over 3,500 federal troops, plus all of the business and commerce that comes with it, which means this street was lined with casinos, stores, saloons, hotels, restaurants, and houses of ill repute. The camp was in operation from 1858 to 1861. The troops had to go do something back east, something about a civil war. Half of the generals went and fought for the Confederacy, the other half went to fight for the Union. They all left, which means everything here was kind of up for grabs.
And now, this.
Check this out, man. They got a gift shop. You can wear a hat, you can get like teddy bears and stuff. I could play with a gun. I wonder if they'd let me shoot one of these for real.
Woo-hoo!
Nah, they wouldn't let me do that. I'd probably put a hole in something anyway. So one of the only buildings still standing right here is the Stagecoach Inn. In fact, I was just in there taking a tour. Super wide staircases, super tall ceilings, really great bathroom amenities. You could not believe how nice it was in the 1850s. So while there were no combat deaths in the Utah War, there were plenty of soldiers who passed away while stationed at Camp Floyd. They're buried here at the Camp Floyd Cemetery. Most died from disease, some from cold, others got murdered in town, some drank themselves to death. All of them are buried here at Camp Floyd. However, they were buried with wooden headstones, and when a wildfire came through sometime in the 1930s, they lost track of who was who. So in the 1960s, they put new headstones at the cemetery. Only problem was, some of the names were incorrect, spelled wrong, they didn't die at Camp Floyd. In fact, some of them weren't ever even stationed in Utah to begin with. So in 2009, they used ground-penetrating radar to locate where each soldier was buried. Turns out, they're kind of all over the place, and nobody really knows which one is which. So rather than dig them up, they were all marked unknown. So there you have it, Camp Floyd, a huge part of Utah and American history right here in Utah County. Like it, subscribe to it, comment below on what you want to see next time on Cool Stuff in Utah. See ya.
Jon, that is so fun.
Thank you so much.
That is so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, this should be shown in classrooms, in my opinion. I find that you have a way and a knack. You're able to tell history, keep it entertaining and fun, and I'm just going to talk you up the whole time.
You're too kind.
Hey, so tell me, okay, that was
Keep
Camp
going.
Floyd. How many of these do you have? Where do you have them? And give me your top 3. If people are going to go look, what would you say? Go see those 3.
My top 3 locations. Camp Floyd is probably my favorite because
Okay.
it is one of the most historically significant in Utah that a lot of people just don't know about.
Love that.
The second one would actually be the 2-part at the state capitol building.
Okay.
You know how hard I had to work
know.
to get in there. It took me years to sort that one out. And then my third one is Lagoon. We actually did 2 episodes at Lagoon. One of America's only family-owned theme parks, and it's the oldest family-owned theme park in the world.
That's so cool.
And it's a treasure right here in Utah, and we got to go in the old fun house.
Oh, ooh. Do they still have that wheel thing?
Nope.
That's gone. I remember
but
that growing up.
A lot of it's gone, but the slides are still in there.
Ooh,
and
okay.
we got pictures of them in that episode, so you can go
love
look
that.
those up.
I love that. Okay, those are the top 3 Jon says go check out for cool stuff in Utah. Jon, if you had what would be the craziest one that you've done? Kind of that just blew your mind that you didn't.
There was one we did down in Nephi at the rodeo.
Is that one where you were pulled by the horse?
I was
on the
dragged
back?
by a horse.
I was a little, and your leg was still broken, I believe.
Yeah,
at that time. Or something.
That
was
one, no,
hurt.
I didn't have a broken leg on that one.
Something
so
was hurt on you.
Dragged by a horse at the Nephi rodeo, and
Or
then
maybe you were
there's
hurt after.
we did the America First Field for Real Salt Lake, and you see me run out and kick a soccer ball, and I had literally just
got
gotten
your
the cast off my foot that day.
That's hilarious.
And I ran out and kicked a soccer ball as hard as I could, and you see me limping the rest of the day because I had re-broken my foot. So.
Oh no, Jon. Okay, any scary? You've done some spooky stuff.
We've done some haunted houses. We've done an old hospital in Tooele that's now the Asylum 49 haunted house. We've done Fear Factory and Nightmare on 13th.
Yeah.
All very scary in their own right. Probably the creepiest one that we've done would be the Summum Pyramid. A lot of people don't know about the pyramid that's on 9th West and 6th South. About 6th South and 9th West. There's a pyramid. Where
You wanted
they
to know, why
have
is there a pyramid?
people mummify themselves and they mummify their pets when they die, and they have a whole culture and religion around it. And
not seen that episode.
They let us go in the pyramid and
Wow.
witness one of their worship services, and it was
Wow.
definitely weird.
We say interesting.
No, it was weird.
All right, what do you got coming up, John? Which ones are on the horizon that we can look forward to?
We're getting ready to film the Hill Air Force Base Aerospace Museum.
Oh, very cool.
We're going to be filming out at Camp Williams with the Utah Army National Guard.
Cool.
We're going to be filming out at EOSEPA, which is a very, very cool and
Historic.
largely unknown historic site out in Tooele County. It's going to be a great year.
Love it, John. All right, where do people go to watch all of these incredible segments you put together on the cool stuff in Utah?
Of course, the Arrow Facebook page, the Arrow app. You can find us on YouTube. Just look for cool stuff in Utah. All of the episodes will pull right up. The KSL app, wherever you're watching this right here.
We're going to bring John on more because I love these stories. As I mentioned in our intro,
I would love that.
They're entertaining. I think this is a great platform to get it out to people, and they can show that these are family friendly for the most part.
Yes, they are.
For the most
I
part.
show them to my kid.
I showed them to my kids, so they're entertaining. But I think this is a fantastic way to teach Utah history in our state, and John has figured out he's fine-tuned it. So go check them out. Visit the Arrow, all of their different social media platforms, and see what John has going on. If you've got any ideas for John, I know he'd love to hear them.
I would love them. Yes,
if you've
absolutely.
got connections to an interesting site that he might be able to get into, I'm sure he'd love to hear from you as
With
well.
or without permission, I'll happily come out.
He figures it out somehow and gets away with it. Jon Smith from the Arrow, thank you so much for joining us to talk about cool stuff in Utah here in the KSL Stream Center, and we will check in with you again. Everybody, thanks for joining us. Leave your comments for John if you'd like to. We'll circle back to him, and I'm sure he'd love to answer some of those for you. So, John, say goodbye to everybody.
Bye, kids.
Have a good one. We'll see you guys.